I'm here. 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 Oh, God.
What took you so long?
Oh, stop it. We got a video to do. What did Kent say this time? I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I knew this was coming. I was hoping he wouldn't do this one, that son of a... No. No, 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 no. I'm not letting him get me this time. I'm scared to see what he says about this one in long form.
Do not be afraid.
But, I know, but it's just so brain dead. I mean, Niagara Falls? I thought the last one was done with the river deltas, but Niagara Falls? How can that son of a bitch... Yet another video I could literally do as a 10-second short. Eroding land features is not evidence for the universe. There, done. I mean, in comparison to this, the moon was PhD level. This is kindergarten level.
Let's get it started!
Audio Demon, you sound way too enthusiastic for this. But yes, let's get this over with. As usual, I haven't watched the video, only the first few seconds to see the topic. In essence, he's saying erosion at Niagara Falls does not show billions of years.
Now, this one is just indicating about when the flood was, about Niagara Falls. It certainly does not show the Earth is billions of years old.
Okay, this is giving me at least a glimmer of hope if he wants to show this as evidence of the flood rather than the age of the Earth and everything. He goes into the advertisements and talks a bit about how his unpaid staff is overworked while asking for donations. Though he doesn't stay long on the advertisements, just begging for money and donated Jeeps. Yes, he wants someone to donate a Jeep to the millionaire. Yes, I looked up his net worth. It's over $1 million generously donated to him by his lackeys. I mean, devoted victims. I mean, his followers. Oh my goodness. Sorry. I lose track of what I'm saying sometimes. AD knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, bitch!
Anyway, let's see what his first point is.
Darwin believed Niagara Falls was evidence the Earth is more than 6,000 years old. Now keep in mind, in Darwin's day, 1840s, 1850s, most people thought the Bible was true and the Earth was about 6,000 years old.
Evolutionary biologist, mainly in natural history and geology, I would put money on it Darwin knows what he was talking about. But back in the 1800s, yeah, people back then were not as well informed as they are now. Even though about 40% of people actually think the Earth is between 6,000 and 10,000 years old. That just means the majority are correct in thinking that's stupid. But this is Kent Hovind, who broke the Guinness World Record for having an IQ in the single digits.
Bible dates clearly add up to about 6,000 for the age of the Earth. 4,400 years ago would be the flood in the days of Noah. God haters are always looking for any number bigger than 6,000. That's why they try to use Niagara Falls as evidence the Bible is wrong.
Yes, because the point is you can show a million things to be 6,000 years old, but as soon as you show one thing to be billions of years old, your hypothesis for the age of the universe to be 6,000 is right out the window. You see, these young Earth creationists can't stand time. They hate time. It's the sand in their lubricant for the young Earth circle jerk. Kent and so many others like him try desperately to take time away from science. They have to resort to anything they can find that fits their narrative, like trying to pick grains of sand out of their KY jelly. Well, we're going to try and educate him tonight. Yes, this was a joke about his beloved time pacifiers, because he goes on about that on yet another rant.
That's kinda hot!
For Darwin's sake, are you gonna be like this again today?
Yeah, bitch!
Let's just keep going.
Stephen Weinberg said, anything that scientists can do to weaken the hold of religion should be done.
I am proposing Kent takes on an 11th commandment. Thou shalt not fuck with Nobel Prize winners when it comes to scientific truths. I would talk about the amazing things Stephen has done, but I would take me an entire video just to get through it all, and I wouldn't understand most of it personally. Suffice to say, he is a highly accomplished scientist, and Kent here should be wary. But I totally agree. The more we can do to weaken stupid beliefs, the better. I'll do my part, dressed like a dog. I still say that if I get 2,000 subs, I'll drive out to Kent's little ranch out there and tour the place like this. I'll try to have a GoPro with me. Maybe I could stick it in the eye somewhere. I just hope they don't try and steal my Jeep.
Obviously, the age of Niagara Falls does not prove the age of the earth.
Roll credits.
But it's another evidence that the Bible is right about the flood being 4,400 years ago.
Now, I'm curious to see how he concludes this, but at least we aren't saying anything about the age of the earth, just the time of the flood.
And here's the sugar on the cream.
We've already shown there isn't enough water on, above, or inside the entire planet to cause a flood of the magnitude he wants it to be. What was it, like 53 feet? The falls alone are 3 times higher than that at about 167 feet, not to mention how much higher above sea level.
About 12,000 years in the making. Oh, 12,300. Niagara Falls is a natural wonder like any other. The history of Niagara Falls goes back thousands of years to the Ice Age, when large torrents of water were released from the melting glacier, draining into what is now known as the Niagara River.
Yet again, I found the article he is quoting here, and Kent is not quoting it correctly. It doesn't say melting glacier, it just says melting ice, which is correct. The most recent ice age was about 20,000 years ago, and technically you can still kind of think that we're in that ice age. This is from the Niagara Falls State Park website itself under history. It continues by saying, geologically speaking, Niagara Falls is very young. So, Niagara Falls is part of the Great Lakes bodies of water, Lakes Erie, Michigan, Ontario, Huron, and Lake Superior, which is the largest. Niagara Falls is located in the United States and Canadian borders between the 2 smallest lakes, Ontario and Erie, in the U.S. state of New York and the Canadian province of Ontario. Now, I think he used the word glacier because as the ice moved and shifted during and at the end of the Ice Age, it carved out the lakes themselves, and the ice melted into them, filling the lakes with water initially, while rain runoff keeps them full of water. The digging of the ice left Lake Ontario at a lower point than Erie, and thus the water needing to go somewhere dropped off the edge of the now cliff face, eroding the dirt and revealing the rock underneath that is now a waterfall. Over time, erosion wears away at the cliff face and pushes the falls back slowly over the years. But because the falls have eroded things away all the way down to the bedrock, you're not going to find a nice, satisfying time lapse of the falls eroding. But what you will find is what usually happens in events like this: a large collapse of a section of the falls which takes out several feet at a time. One of which was captured on film in the 1950s when cracks started to show on the pavement in the area. Film crews took refuge on stable parts of the falls and caught a massive section falling away to the base of the falls below. Eventually, the falls will erode away and we will be left with a rapid river between the 2 lakes. In about 50,000 years, so there's plenty of time to go have a visit.
Niagara Falls has moved back 7 miles in 12,500 years and may be the fastest moving waterfall in the world. Niagara Falls has eroded back 7 miles. Well, 7 miles in 12,000 years is almost 3 feet a year.
Yep, more setup. Yes, about 3 feet per year. This isn't as big a deal as Kent thinks, and yes, it's likely the fastest moving waterfall in the world. It's not a race car here, Kent. He goes on and repeats this over and over like it's some major discovery. I think he's trying to be educational with this one, but Kent is already so dense it's no wonder the flat earth community orbits around him so much. Now, he shows a picture here, which is his first blatant lie, and we have proof of his lie with pictures here. So he is trying to say the falls were all the way up at the Niagara Whirlpool 200 years ago, while this picture taken in the 1800s shows both the American Falls, the Horseshoe Falls in Canada, and the Goat Island between them. Kent's asshole must be jealous of all the shit that comes out of his mouth. And if you think that's a joke, listen to this.
The American side of Niagara Falls nearly dried up in 1969.
That comment right there is proof positive Kent is a liar, a deceiver, a a swindler, and a charlatan. Any research on why the American side was dry in 1969 would have found in a matter of seconds, we did it. We stopped it. We diverted the falls just to the Canadian side to inspect the falls. We found a ton of coins and a few skeletons. The coins were collected and the skeletons went unidentified, but he doesn't even try. He just reports on his keywords in an effort to hand his bullshit off to the viewers. So the intent of the diversion was to see if there was a way to remove some large boulders from the base of the falls on the American side and make it prettier. Leave it to America to look at a natural wonder and try to artificially make it prettier. There is another plan in the works to put a dam in to divert the water yet again in an effort to replace two of the bridges on the high side of the falls. But that's two hard lies Kent has been caught up in. The falls were not where he claims in the 1800s, and the U.S. side didn't miraculously dry up. We diverted the water ourselves. This is the kind of scumbag he truly is.
This guy's a total disgrace.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Niagara Falls is great evidence of Noah's flood 4,400 years ago, just like the Bible teaches.
Finally, there's the big claim he has with this. I can't wait to hear why Kent thinks the falls, which have a clear starting point and a clear current point, occurred in 1/3 of the time. I think I'll make one of my little predictions here. He's going to claim that the floodwaters would have accelerated the erosion. If he makes this claim, he will contradict his claims about the geological column and some of the things he said in the video about languages. Let's see.
As the water receded, much of Niagara Gorge eroded the first few days. There was more water and softer mud. That equals faster erosion, guys, in anybody's book.
Called it.
You get a tweet now.
So, why does this contradict his previous claims? Well, in the claim about the geological column, he said that the mud piled up and hardened as the waters receded, leaving the mud behind. But now he says the mud wasn't left behind and was eroded away in a matter of days. In the languages, he said heavy stones the writings were on would have sunk in the mud left behind that would have settled and turned to harder rock. But now things being eroded away in a matter of days and the waters eroding nationwide, it would have washed away, not just in the falls. In fact, the deltas he talked about in the last seminar would have had to have been across the entire coastline and not just the Mississippi River. But I'll grant him sea erosion for that. Either way, the falls are on bedrock and not the softer rock laid down over eons. This rock would have been there even during the flood, and no amount of extra water is going to erode something like that 3 times as fast as it is going now. Something rushing over that fast would have caused a much wider gorge and not just the deep river we see now. So, as usual, Kent is wrong, and geology says so. But let's see if he is just making guesses and if he has any evidence for this.
As the amount of water diminished and the mud hardened into rock, the erosion rate slowed down. It's common sense, 101.
No, Kent. If you want to play that card, the entire falls would not exist. If the entire thing was soft, waters flowing through the Niagara River would have taken layers off the top and eroded it evenly, causing a rapids and not a waterfall like every other river in the world. It is a fall because it's bedrock above bedrock. Let me go ahead and explain the difference. So, bedrock is a layer of solid rock of the Earth's crust where other materials that are lighter and less dense sit. If you have ever been seen a mountain or a cliff or something like that, that is bedrock that has been pushed up from under the surface and pushed up from one geological event or another, like tectonic plates pushing under one another to cause them to buckle and lift. Other times, like in the Ice Age, so much extra weight was placed so that the bedrock shifted or a likewise catastrophic event occurred. Either way, bedrock is not going anywhere anytime soon, and it will take more than even a global flood to shake it. That stuff is eroding away on the falls is bedrock. Above the bedrock is more rock, but that is a softer and looser material eroded away much faster. But this is also why the lower part of the river is not looking to expand all too fast. Everything down there is quite solid and not easily eroded away like he is suggesting. Sorry, Kent, but bedrock doesn't give a shit about your global flood. Besides, if there was that much water washing out, the entire basin of dirt would have been washed out along with it around the falls and not just the falls themselves. You can't speed up nature and you can't have more water. I should get a couple of pacifiers and write water and more water on them just to taunt him, because he can't have more water. It's just not there.
There's obviously evidence of a glacier ice age that came completely over where the Great Lakes are today. That whole area was covered with ice.
Audio Demon, why did you stop there? You know this is setting him up for fuck his ice core claim up too, right? Let the guy talk.
It was submerged under ice during the Ice Age. When was that? Well, we'll talk about that in a minute.
Oh, I'm sure he wants to put distance between that claim and the explanation. What do you think of it, AB?
You know what? This was a mistake.
Well, we can let him say a few more stupid things before we bury him.
If Niagara was millions of years old, it would have eroded clear back to Lake Erie.
I thought he said right at the start that he knew it wasn't millions of years old, and it was not proof the Earth was billions and millions of years old. I swear, there are over 1 million words in the English language, and there is no way to combine them to describe how impossibly stupid Kent is. No one is claiming a geological feature of the Earth is the same age as the Earth. Between continental drift, ice ages, we know for a fact the Earth changes. I mean, it's not rocket science, but Kent hasn't even gotten up to the level of understanding a bottle rocket.
I think everybody agrees that there was an ice age that came all the way down to Kansas City, Missouri, southern Illinois. But if you look at the evidence for ice age, ice sliding across the countryside, it would leave behind a load of rocks at the end called a terminal moraine, a pile of rocks at the end when it melts back. As it melts, it makes all kinds of features. As the ice melts back, it's obvious features that there was an ice age clear down over where Niagara Falls is today.
Audio clip demon, hit it.
And here I am standing on top of the world with some bitches to defeat.
So he debunked himself again. Twice, actually, with that admission. First, we're going to put up this screenshot that he didn't mention. The ice would have been covering the falls area and could not have started forming the falls until the ice melted back. He claimed back in Seminar 1D that the ice was put there magnetically by the flood shattering an ice dome a few miles above the surface, which he claims is the actual formation of the Ice Age, which he now says covered the exact place he is saying the flood would have washed out. So the flood rains would have been running over the ice since that was placed down first, and the water's hitting over that and not actually washing out anything underneath the ice at all. On top of that, he said the ice would have melted after the flood had receded. So he had said the ice was there during the flood to create the Great Lakes, but not there during the flood, so the superfast erosion could have happened. Good job, Kent. Thank you for doing my work for me.
We better back up and find out what was the original creation like, where did the Ice Age fit in, and then it'll make Niagara Falls fit like, whoa, Bible's true.
I can't wait to hear this. We know the lakes formed during the Ice Age. He knows they were formed in the Ice Age. He's said it, but he thinks the Ice Age and the flood were the same event from his ice core video. So it's a long-winded speech about exactly this. The fountains of the deep broke open, water shot up, he has a picture of the ice canopy, nothing we haven't seen or heard him say in previous videos. I'll clip it down for your sanity, while my own deteriorates faster than a cream pie at the base of the falls.
So the water underneath went shooting to the top. Water under the rock that's now up on top, so the rock's going to settle in, 50 feet, 100 feet, whatever. A cubic foot of rock weighs about 160 pounds, depending on what kind. I understand, whether it's granite or dolomite, all that. It would put about 8.5 million pounds of pressure per square foot. That's about 30 tons per square inch. When the cracks develop in the rock, so heavy, the water's going to be shooting up like a missile and shatter the canopy that used to be overhead. Those rocks would launch up and shatter that canopy. Super cold ice is magnetic, and it would be sucked in and dumped on the North and South Pole. Ice came further south into America than it did in Russia. Ice Age used to go clear down to southern Illinois, then it's retreated back to its current place where it is now. It would take hundreds of years for all that ice to melt back to its current size. As the ice melts back from Noah's flood, there would be lots more water moving over Niagara Falls. Faster moving water carries more debris and erodes even faster. So as the water's flowing that direction, the erosion's coming the other direction. The water flows north, so erosion moves south. The rate of erosion would change as the mud dries to rock and the amount of water and sediment load slows down. People that are willingly ignorant who say this does not factor in the rapid erosion that would happen if the mud was softer and there was more water and more suspended sediment. It would have greater erosional power.
Be happy that was only 1 minute 15 seconds. He actually took about 7 full minutes while he rambled. So let's break down this bullshit. He claims the order of events was that the water started to come out, the ice canopy was shattered and pulled to the poles quickly. The waters kept coming and flooded the earth, so ice first, water second. But he is then claiming that the water softened the rock. Yes, I know ice floats, but he's saying it was covering the area instead of the water. That the North and South poles were covered in this super cold ice, which would have frozen the rains as they came down. As he said previously, the ice was a few degrees above 0 Kelvin. Still under ice and not water. His claim is the folly of his argument. Both science and Kent say that the melting glaciers would have caused erosion, but he is claiming the floodwaters would have softened the bedrock, but the floodwaters wouldn't have gotten to the bedrock if the ice took hundreds of years to melt and the flood only lasted 1 year biblically. So in his explanation, the flood couldn't have softened the rock since the water would have been ice and not liquid due to basic thermodynamics. Kent contradicts his own claim yet again with simple, easy to understand logic.
Alrighty, job well done.
I won't let you get away with your bullshit and lies, Kent.
Not today, Satan!
And then he closes with this.
Niagara Falls is just another interesting bit of evidence of Noah's flood and the Ice Age, fitting right in with the Bible. No problem at all.
Well, I found plenty of problems. More than he will be able to handle with his load of absolute bunk. I'm getting really good at this.
The world is your anus, so peg it with honesty.
AD, that is your clip to help end this. Really?
Yeah, bitch.
I'm just worried about next week. I'll be out of town this next weekend, so the videos will be a little late getting out. Monday after the weekend, I'll likely be running back in, unpacking, and dropping a video on Kent same day to try to at least be on time. I will be shooting for Young Earth Monday and the regular videos on Friday to have a more consistent stream of content after this weekend. For now, I am Corsi, and this is the Fluffy Atheist. If you like this, thumbs up, and please don't forget to subscribe. Share me with friends to show a funny video, or point and laugh. I'm good either way.